What's up, guys? Welcome to TalkChain, and this is Robcast 2.0. Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, altcoins, and all things crypto. We're going to talk about what happens to the price of a coin before and after a mainnet launch. And we're also going to talk about Stripe removing Bitcoin off of their platform. All right, so let's get into it. Taking a look at coin market cap today, it looks like there's red, there's some minor red. It's nothing too devastating. Hopefully that means we're seeing a little bit of a reversal of the trend of the bear market that's been happening recently. There's not really too much to talk about in any way. We're seeing a bottom. We're seeing a bottom of this constant pullback that's been happening, and I think that probably within the next 24 to 48 hours, we're going to start seeing some green across the board. And that's something that we can all be hopeful for. Now, let's see what else we got here. So today was Icon's mainnet launch. So I've been invested in the Icon crypto for an extended period of time. I believe I originally got in when it was around $2, and I bought and sold probably too many times in between there. But right now, it is my main crypto holding for both this mainnet launch, as well as they're having their summit on the 31st, and there's some potential for some Korean exchange news to happen sometime between today and the middle of February. So that's why I've been holding on to this. But since this mainnet launch has been announced, there's been some positive movement. But I thought what I would do was take a look at what happens to this specific crypto during a mainnet launch day. Now, this is my first time actually really caring and actually paying attention to a coin over an extended period of time. I am somebody who rides pumps and ditches as soon as it peaks or slightly afterward. But what I noticed today was really at about 9:30, and this is Eastern Standard Time, there became a trend. So even before that, you notice here that there's a significant sell-off overnight. So from 9 p.m. yesterday until about 9:30 today, there was a significant sell-off. And you'll notice right around working hours, this is where everything kind of transitions. Part of me wonders if people just kind of get bored at work and decide to get on crypto. They realize, oh, it's Icon launch day, so let me just put a little bit in. So throughout the day, you see right around 9:30 is when it starts, moves up to 10:30, big pump around break time. Then you see it just progressively moves up and up and up. So from 9:30 a.m. until about 4:30 p.m., you'll see that it increased about 13%. It went from 7,040 Satoshis all the way up to 7,993 Satoshis. Now, it just happens to coincide with at the end of the workday. At the end of the workday, you see that people start selling off. And this might just be because of some large sell walls. And it really could just be that people think that it's as high as it's going to go for now. So there is a gradual decline, and that leads up right until 1900, right until the mainnet launch, which you see like the dips start to get a little bit stronger. So I haven't had a chance to take a look at the mainnet myself. I intend to watch the recording of the actual presentation on the 31st, and they can kind of go over the benefits. I'm sure they can lay it out a lot more succinctly than I would ever be able to, even if I were to pull it up. So we are starting to see a little bit of a bounce back, but it's interesting to see that the day of the mainnet launch, leading up to it, so probably about 12 hours before, you start to see some positive movement until about 3 hours before you actually start to see a little bit of a pullback. So that's something that I'm going to start paying attention to with major news and for any specific coin. So there are a few other projects that are having some big news come out, like Walton Coin is supposed to have a big announcement coming out on the 28th with a large amount of Chinese media outlets there. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch as well. That's been since that has been announced. Walton Coin has moved from about $26 up to it reached about 32 earlier today, and now let's just take a look here. I believe it did pull back a little bit, but yeah, so it's still hovering around the $30 mark. But you'll notice here, let's just pull it up. So that was announced late, I believe it was late yesterday. So yeah, you can see from around the $28 mark all the way up to 32, and then it's kind of leveled off around the $30 range. But it's interesting to see how the markets move with different news sources and leading up to these moments. For somebody who likes to ride the highs and get rid of the lows, that's something that I have more interest in, more so than any sort of technical analysis. And as much as I would love to improve and do some long-term holding, there's always going to be probably about a third of my holdings that are riding on some of these highs because I'm mildly addicted to it. So let's move on. We did see some big news today. Let me just pull this up real quick. So what has happened is Stripe, the payment transaction processing company, has taken Bitcoin off, or is going to take Bitcoin off of their platform. Now that's going to happen as of April of 2018. So it's going to be some interesting stuff. So and this was announced on Stripe's actual website. So what has happened is the people who are supporting these transactions have noticed that transaction failures are increasing, fees are increasing, and the time to process these transactions are taking longer and longer. And it's something that we've seen throughout the community over the last number of years, where people are saying that it's getting too slow, the fees are too high, and these are some issues that are supposed to be fixed by the Lightning Network, and that still remains to be seen. But one interesting thing about Stripe is that they've been a long-time supporter of Stellar Lumens. Now, for those of you who don't know, Stellar Lumens is supported by Greg Brockman, who is the former CTO at Stripe. So they already have a little bit of a connection. And interestingly, when Stellar Lumens first launched, Stellar was given a loan by Stripe of $3 million in exchange for 2% of all lumens. So they already have this business connection. And because in this letter from Tom Carlo at Stripe, he is saying that they are a big supporter of cryptocurrency and they are interested in continuing transactions with cryptocurrency if Stellar Lumens continues to gain I guess market share in the transaction industry. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes of this. Obviously, it'll be big news for Stellar if such a massive company like Stripe were to take them on. So that's about it for today. nothing too crazy going on in the markets. It looks like there's some big announcements coming up with Walton, with Icon, with Stellar Lumens, with their 2018 roadmap coming out. So tell me what you think. Are you yeah? Are you kind of a pump and dumper? Are you a holder? What do you think about Stellar Lumens getting on Stripe? Do you think Fairx will come to fruition by the end of the quarter, like they say that it will? Other than that, there isn't too much to say. So that's it for this episode of Talk Chain. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As well as follow us on Twitter at TalkChain Podcast. You can subscribe to us on the on Stitcher, on the Apple iTunes podcast app, and any other platform you can think of. We are on there. So that's it for today. Have a good one.